This is the Brave New Coin Crypto Conversation, hosted by Andy Pickering.
Hi everyone, Andy Pickering here. I'm your host and welcome to the Crypto Conversation, a Brave New Coin podcast where we talk to the people building the future in the Bitcoin, blockchain and cryptocurrency space. Let's do it. My guest today is Labhesh Patel. Labhesh is the CEO and co-founder of Autonomys, a fascinating looking decentralized identity protocol. There's a lot going on here. We'll learn all about it today. But welcome to the show.
Glad to be here, Andy.
Let's do what we do at the beginning of the show. It would be great if you could please introduce yourself. Love to hear some of your personal and professional backstory. What have you been doing in the lead up to co-founding Autonomys?
Sure. So I have been in the AI space for the last over a decade and a half. And my involvement with AI was more about putting large scale models into production. So when I started with AI, what was happening is a lot of folks, a lot of enterprises would be doing POCs, proof of concepts in labs that they were not really getting out and putting models in production. So when I started working with Jumio, which is one of the largest KYC providers, what we did was we took the entire KYC process, which was manual, and we automated it using AI. So there were humans who would be looking at the government documents and figuring out whether or not they are authentic or not. What we did was automate that entire process using AI and then put these models in production rather than just doing POCs. And after Jumio, I've been looking at the Web3 and the AI space, fascinated by the intersection of this space. And with the generative AI boom coming last year, it became very clear to me that for any sort of a future where humans have autonomy, we need very clear thesis on the intersection of AI and Web3. And here we are with Autonomys doing exactly that.
Yes, that is exactly right. All right. Well, maybe just, give us a bit more of the vision of Autonomys then, just at a high level. Labhesh, what is the vision? What are you guys trying to build here?
Sure. What we are trying to build, Andy, is decentralized infrastructure for what we call the age of autonomy. The thesis that we have is that we need to have technology and infrastructure in place where humans retain their autonomy. They use AI. AI agents are, a lot of personal AI agents are used by every human, but the center is still the human. And for that, we are looking at building out the entire decentralized AI stack, starting from the storage layer, where, as you know, AI requires a lot of data, and data requires storage. We want to make sure that people can have access to these AI data sets. So we have the Subspace protocol as the base layer protocol, which is a Proof-of-Archival-Storage protocol. On top of that, we have the execution layer, where we have the decentralized training. We are looking at innovating on frameworks where we can do training on the edge. We can do federated learning, where you can train models on user-controlled data. And also, we are looking at building out self-sovereign identity. And the vision is, what we see is that every human will have tons of personal AI agents that they are going to be working with, collaborating with. And to make sense of it all, we would need a very robust self-sovereign identity, decentralized identity mechanism. That's what we are building out as Auto ID. We need to be able to identify the AI agents, and we need to be able to identify the humans. And for everything that an AI agent does, we need the required provenance in place. Because one of my favorite sayings is, an AI agent is not afraid of going to jail. a human is. And in the upcoming age, AI agents are going to be taking a lot of actions on humans' behalf. We want to make sure that their actions are rooted towards him.
Yeah, that's a great point, Labhesh. I'd love to just expand on that a little bit. So, identity and provenance systems are going to be indeed extremely important in the AI era that is already underway. So, how do you create solutions to these? And I love that example that you used of an AI agent isn't necessarily it's hard to put rules and restrictions on an AI agent unless they're kind of programmed in at the base layer, if you like, because they're not worried about going to jail.
Exactly. So if you imagine infrastructure where we humans are responsible for creating AI agents, and in our self-sovereign identity auto ID mechanism, you can self-issue IDs. Identities can be issued by other bodies, and once a human has an identity, they can verify themselves as human using protocols that we know from the normal KYC process. One such protocol can be verifying your biometric passport, which allows you to verify that you actually own a passport, a valid passport, in a privacy protecting way. That information never leaves your mobile phone. And then with a very quick face match and a likeness detection, all of these can be done in a decentralized fashion. You can prove without doubt that this is a unique human that is associated with his identity. And that claim is going to get associated with that identity. Once the human has that identity, they can create identities which are related to that and which are dependent on that. And these are the identities that they're going to be giving the AI agents that they create. The whole idea is that in this infrastructure, the humans are going to be able to come up with rule-based access control for their AI agents. And it's not just one AI agent. There's going to be many derivative IDs and many derivative identities, all rooted to the human. And one AI agent, let's say, has the ability to go to a certain paywall and pay $5 for $5 for some information, whereas the another AI agent does not have that. And the identity is going to be the factor which allows for this very fine-grained rule-based access control. Also, when you start thinking from a generative AI perspective, generative AI is such a huge force multiplier, right? And there are protocols which are already coming into play where humans and AI generate content which is owned by the humans. And here also the concept of identity and digitally signing your creations and making sure that once it's out there, the provenance is still very easily looked at and guaranteed, is something that base layer infrastructure allows. One of the other things we can do with our self-sovereign identity auto ID infrastructure is you can attach claims to it. For example, there's this technology called zero knowledge over DNS sessions, where literally you can log into a website where you know the username and password, and that session generates a zero knowledge proof that you have control over that account. For example, you log into Coinbase or Binance or DMV, IRS, and you can provide a proof that you control that session, and you can attach that claim to the identity. So with these verifiable claims coming with each human's identity, you can start thinking about a distributed reputation system, a decentralized reputation system. And this is the base level infrastructure that we are creating. And then the developers are going to come up with applications that are going to be using this.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fascinating. What just with AI agents? Obviously, there is a lot of buzz around the idea of AI agents, and already you see kind of the early versions of these experimenting in the wild, if you like. How do we see AI agents using Web3 tech? Like why are on-chain agents useful? I guess talk us through some of the use cases and scenarios that you guys are thinking about here.
Yeah, so one of the biggest use cases of decentralized tech for AI agents is, I believe, the decentralized identity, right?
Yep.
I absolutely fundamentally believe that when we start giving control to AI agents to do work on our behalf, identity is not just going to be a sideshow. It's going to be the central theme in the upcoming infrastructure, in the upcoming world where a lot of the workflows are going to be replaced by agents, right? The decentralized part is extremely important because what we want to make sure is that the AI tech doesn't get concentrated in the hands of a few corporations. It has already started this way, right? If you look at all the AI tech currently, it's concentrated with like a handful of companies. But we are already also seeing the emergence of tech where projects and companies are open sourcing a lot of their work, and there is already a lot of innovation happening on the realm of decentralized training, decentralized infrastructure, making sure that you are not censored out of the AI workflows. I believe from an AI agent perspective, the identity and the decentralized offerings of blockchain are super important, as is the immutability of the records. So whatever actions AI agents take, we will need some sort of a ledger to record that. We would need a trail of this and immutable. We cannot have corporations go ahead and change the audit trail of whatever AI agents did. So some of these fundamental things that come with Web3 are things that the AI agents will need if what we are seeing is going to become more and more prevalent.
Yes, makes sense, Labhesh. I wonder, just talking about how important it is to ensure, I guess that decentralized infrastructure, because obviously at the moment, there's a handful of huge, massive AI labs around the world, if you like, and it's sort of we're obviously in danger of repeating that Web2 centralization idea where you have 3 or 4 just huge, massive companies that create their own moats and have monopolies. Potentially the same thing could happen with AI. So just talk about how that kind of decentralized infrastructure is important and can potentially address some of the current challenges in the development and deployment of AI. I'm thinking about data privacy, compute resource, accessibility to models, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start with the data. I always like starting with the data because no matter how complex the models are, finally it boils down to data. And when you think about where the LLMs are going right now, they are looking at public data. LLMs are looking at the public data. Public data is not infinite. And we are almost reaching the limits of what we can do with publicly available data. By some accounts, I was reading somewhere that the amount of data which is public is only 1% of the total amount of data. Most of the data is user controlled. They are in data silos and repositories that users own. The biggest change will come when there is a clear incentive mechanism for users to contribute their personal data, their own data, without the fear of losing access to it, without the fear of just completely destroying their privacy. And there are mechanisms already in place which are coming, like federated learning. You can train models You can bring the model to the data, train it, send the model back. You don't have to share your data. What is currently not there, and this is something that Autonomous is looking at very closely, is what is the value of your data? How do you incentivize the user for doing so? And there, in the white paper that we are going to be releasing, there's a new white paper that's coming out very soon. We are talking about mechanisms of how to value the user-generated or the user-controlled data. So I think that part is extremely important. So when you think about the quantum jump in the quality of AI models, the quantum jump has already come because of the increase in computational resource. But on the other dimension, the whole user-generated data being user-owned data, training the models or improving the models is going to give a huge boost to the AI models. And we need the right incentive in place for users to be able to do so. And there is nothing better than blockchain that can provide the token-based incentives. When we talk about the computational demands, there is, you're talking about high-density GPUs, H100s, and you cannot get them right now, right? There is a lot of research and there is a lot of R&D that's happening on improving the model capacity, even on low density GPUs, right? So using parameter efficient fine tuning techniques, you can improve models on relatively smaller GPUs. And I see that being the norm, where instead of these big foundation frontier models, what we are going to be looking at is SLM, small language models, small models which can be trained on commodity hardware, and they are doing very specialized work, very specialized workflows, but there are enough of them that for each item or every task that we want, a specialized model can be trained and put out in a data or a model marketplace, and users can be and would be able to use that with a much lesser latency than the frontier models. So data and decentralized compute are the two things that definitely are very important. And then obviously, I keep on saying the identity is going to be the bedrock for a lot of this stuff.
Absolutely, it will be. I couldn't agree more. One of the other fascinating parts of the AI debate, I guess, there's a number of ways that people talk about it. There's the idea of AI-induced automation and the need for a UBI, something like that. The idea that, what happens if AI effectively puts large segments of humans out of work in a short period of time, and what that kind of disruption does to the world. And I guess in broader terms, how do you guys think about this kind of evolution of human and AI collaboration, and what kind of infrastructure is needed, do you think, to support humans, human individuals, empower them rather than replace them, if that's one way of looking at it, Labhesh?
Yeah, and again, we have a very strong thesis out here, Andy.
Yes.
There is one camp which is like, okay, well, AI is going to replace all the jobs, and the only way humans survive is there has to be some sort of a UBI. You get handouts on a monthly basis, and that's what you do. Our vision is different. We believe in an economy which is way more participatory. We want to make sure that we provide the right infrastructure and tools for humans, no matter what their craft is. We want to empower them and make sure that they are full functioning members of the society where they are contributing to the economy, not by signing a transaction and getting some tokens on a monthly basis on their mobile phone, but by actually doing useful things. So when we look at our Subspace protocol on which Autonomous Network is built, humans can participate, anybody can participate by just contributing hard disk, right? Very low barrier to entry. If you have a hard disk attached to a very low CPU machine, you can participate in it and you can start earning rewards. You're participating, you're making the network more secure, and as part of that, you're going to be rewarded. You're going to be incentivized. So that's one layer. That's one layer of participation. The second layer of participation is providing everybody who interacts with the protocol or with the project enough tools where they can start building AI agents of their own. And instead of just having this mindset that, okay, well, AI is there, it is for somebody else, and I'm just going to be on the receiving end of it, either positive or negative, make it so accessible that people are participating. They are actually building agents. They are launching agents. If I have a friend who is an incredible machine learning engineer on the Web 2 side, but he has very little knowledge of Web 3. What the kind of tools that we are building is going to allow somebody like that to bridge over to Web 3 and just write a smart contract using AI and launch and deploy, even write partnership agreements with, if you're trying to get liquidity partners with other protocols. A lot of this can be done by AI agents. So the way we are looking at things is, no, let's not go the route where we say that the AI is the end all be all and humans just need to get handouts. Let's empower ourselves. Let's learn to be very productive and members of the society, and with the right infrastructure in place, I think that's totally possible, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, so you're talking about, a world in which autonomous and of course, AI agents, whatever you want to characterize them as, in that world, these agents would empower humans. They would provide leverage for humans to go out and continue to be productive, creative, business-minded, whatever it is they want to do. And I think you've contrasted this with, the idea like WorldCoin is the classic example of, a future where, it's a bit vague, but maybe humans don't work anymore. There's a universal basic income that everyone gets. And this is supposed to be funded somehow by OpenAI, I think. I don't know. And they've done, OpenAI have been doing some studies into UBI, and I think the results are a little bit inconclusive as to whether that would work, I believe.
The way I look at it is that the humans should have the autonomy to decide and go either way. We should not be just handed a decision that this is the only way it's going to be. I think of AI as a force multiplier for humans. I've said this before. The reason why there is apprehension and fear about AI is because when you think of creators, they are afraid that even if they create something, let's say using AI, there is no way to guarantee the provenance that it came from them. So having the right infrastructure tooling in place that allows and targets these apprehensions is the way to go. And I do believe that there is a lot of work that's happening around, not just at Autonomys, with other AI companies, with other projects, where collectively we need to get to a point where finally all as humans, we need to regain our autonomy. We shouldn't be handed down decisions. We should be making the decisions.
I guess just as we start to finish up this part of the podcast, Labhesh, I'd be interested in your thoughts in terms of where we're at. You could frame this as, where Autonomys is at in terms of your rollout, or where we're at in terms of the AI revolution or evolution. Are we, in fact, in an AI bubble? Are we going to go through the kind of the trough of disillusionment before AI really hits? Just kind of your thoughts on where we're at in this cycle and how fast the world is going to change.
I don't think it's a fad. And this is coming from somebody who has built AI models from scratch. I've built AI models. I have struggled in improving precision and recall of certain models by 0.5% for months, right? And when I see the current improvements that AI models have made over the last couple of years, it is mind-boggling. it's one of those things. It's like you can't really understand how hard it is to play the piano till you try actually playing the piano. And when you try building those models and you struggle with your team for months trying to improve things by this little bit, and you see this massive improvement, it is absolutely not a fad from my perspective. This is the way things are going to be. And I think it's already here. When you think about how hard it is to get where AI has gotten to even today, the next steps are actually very easy. So when we talk about what Claude can do or what ChatGPT 4 can do or Mistral can do today, the next level innovation that people are talking about, agents and agents collaborating with each other, that's basically Lego blocks, which is built upon this foundational technology. And this technology is already here. So I do believe that where we are is an incredibly interesting place where a huge revolution is already underway. People like us who are in the industry, who are in it, know that we are already there. It's not something new is coming. I mean, the foundation models are going to they're going to improve. They're definitely going to improve a bit. But where they are already is already completely disruptive. So I think one thing that people need to do is to get used to the idea that a lot of disruption is already happening, no matter what your job is, what your craft is. And the other thing is, it will boil down to the basics. The improvement, any foundational improvement is going to happen because people open up their own data sets and fine tune the models on their own personal data sets. And for that to happen, we need to make sure before that happens, we need to make sure that there are enough checks and balances in place where people are able to do so. And once we get that infrastructure in place where humans have the right incentives to contribute data, we'll see another jump in the model finality. So I don't think this is a fad at all. I will not bet against AI. Yes, depending on the macroeconomic climate, there might be certain crests and troughs. Regulation is going to come into play. There might be certain jurisdictions where, for whatever reason, I hope US is not one of those, where there is impediment to progress because of regulation. But as far as whether the cat is out of the bag, I think the cat is out of the bag already.
The cat is out of the bag. Very much agree. All right, look, let's finish off this part of the podcast, Labhesh, just do that by telling people that are interested in learning more about Autonomys and what you guys are building. What is the best place for people to go? What should they do?
Yeah, so they can go to our website, autonomys.xyz. They can join our Discord. There are some extremely interesting announcements that are upcoming. We actually have a community call in a couple of days also out there. So Discord, our docs, the website, we have a lot of resources that can help people start farming. If you have a normal laptop, you can start farming there. We have we have incentivized testnet going on, where we already have 140 petabytes of data pledged by over 9,000 nodes. And this is just a testnet. So yeah, lots of resources out there.
Yes, indeed. All right, folks. Well, if you want to have a look at what Autonomys and the team are building at the intersection of Web3 and AI, go and check them out at autonomys.xyz. Indeed. It is time now for us to finish off the podcast, Labhesh, and of course we do that by running you through the very famous crypto conversation hot take round. Are you up for it?
Sure, let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm just going to run some questions at you. All I want you to do is give me your honest hot take style answers. Quick and snappy is how we like to roll it. Question one for you is on where would you say that you sit on the scale of a Bitcoin maximalist to multi-chain opportunist?
I think I'm a multi-chain realist. Bitcoin is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. But like, if you think about some of the things that the next generation decentralized AI infrastructure needs, we need something different. And my view is that there's going to be a lot of different chains. They need to be interoperable, but they are going to have their own niches where they are going to perform much better than any other chain.
Agreed. Very well said. All right. Well, what would you say is your firmest conviction crypto opinion?
I think AI and crypto are joined at the hip. Both need each other. And I don't see humans really getting the full benefits of the AI revolution unless we have a Web3 component to the AI. And for a lot of the Web2 folks, I think they need the guardrails or the handrails of AI to get into Web3. So both AI and crypto are joined at the hip for the foreseeable future.
Yep, I like it. All right, Bill Gates famously said that we tend to overestimate what we can accomplish in 2 years and underestimate what we can accomplish in 10. I mean, you know, the combination of Web3, AI, blockchain, 10 years is a long time indeed. But yeah, what does it all look like in 10 years' time?
I firmly believe that right now, blockchain is considered more of a disruptive technology. I think within the next decade, it's going to be a foundational technology. We won't be able to tell whether we are interacting with just a normal Web2 site or is there a chain behind it. That is something that I see absolutely happening. I see a much better way of doing decentralized governance coming to play. People are going to be able to vote on issues, and the results are going to be fair and transparent. This is definitely something that I believe is going to happen because of the foundational tech that we are building on the Web3 side. And the way AI is going to change everything, I do believe that a very strong self-sovereign identity solution such as Auto ID is going to be the norm. People are going to be used to having a DID or a X509 based identity and attaching things to it for a decentralized reputation system. That's not something that it's going to be only in research papers. It's going to be an absolute reality because I think it's needed. We cannot function in an age of agents without that.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, sci-fi author William Gibson famously said that the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. Can you think of an example of the future being here right now, but most people aren't aware of it?
Well, the way I look at it is if you don't have a subscription to one of the foundation models, you are now participating in the whole AI boom at some level, right? So the kind of things that we can already do with AI is mind-boggling, and the sad reality is that it's being controlled by just a few corporations. It's definitely not evenly distributed.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. All right. Brings us nicely to the final question, which is, what is your favorite science fiction book, film, or TV show?
It has to be Interstellar. I love Interstellar. There are many reasons I like it. One of the major ones was, they paid a lot of attention to the science that they put forward out there, and I also liked it that finally it was a story of indomitable human spirit, which is always something which is very inspiring.
Yes, Interstellar, a superb piece of filmmaking, a Christopher Nolan classic.
Yes.
A great selection. Thank you so much for coming and spending some time with us on the show today. Labhesh, just take it out by, again, telling people where they can go to find you if you like to hang out online, Twitter, anything like that, and of course, where people should go to dive into the wonderful world of Autonomys.
Yes, so you can follow me at Labhesh, just my first name on Twitter. autonomous.xyz is the website, and then there are links to our Discord server from there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All the best, and bye for now.
Thanks a lot, Andy.